The Anglo-Indian community is known for its vivaciousness and diversity, hardworking, enterprising, and fun-loving. This community and its rich and distinctive heritage are the most natural outcomes of the British Raj in India.
Till the year 1911, the term Anglo-Indian was used to denote the British who lived and served and chose to continue being in India even after their retirement. In 1911, Lord Hardinge officially termed those of mixed blood, children born of European fathers and Indian mothers, as Anglo-Indians. Today, an Anglo-Indian is one who claims descent from a European male progenitor who has domiciled in India and whose children habitually live in India. The mother tongue of the Anglo-Indians is English, and they are Christian, either Protestant or Roman Catholic.
The contribution of the Anglo-Indian community to the development, growth and prosperity of India post-independence cannot be denied. Anglo-Indians served in several capacities and in various fields, be it nursing or the railways, the army or the police, at the ordnance factories, in secretarial roles, or as air hostesses, or even at the tea estates. This versatile community left an indelible mark.
The Anglo-Indians took up the cause of education with a gusto. They were quick to realize that theirs would be a crucial role in the continuation of English medium education in India. To this end, Frank Anthony and several others who followed him laid the foundation of Anglo-Indian education. In Calcutta, several Anglo-Indians started schools that are thriving even today.
Notable among them were Frank Anthony, who founded 3 schools in 3 cities, all of which are named after him. Mr. O.P. Raymond, who founded Albany Hall Public School. Mrs. Sheila Broughton, who co-founded Julian Day School, Calcutta, and went on to found 3 more branches in Ganganagar, Kalyani, and Howrah. 3 eminent educationists, Mrs. Mann, Mrs. Bieber, and Mrs. Tracy, founded the Park English School. Dr. Gillian Hart, who founded the Welland Goldsmith Schools. Mrs. Lorna Armstead, who founded Harrow Hall. And last but not the least, Mr. C.R. Gaspar, who founded St. Augustine's Day School.
Quizzing in India began with the legendary Neil O'Brien with the first documented formal quiz in 1967 at Christ the King Parish Hall. He passed on the baton to his sons, Derek and Barry O'Brien, who far surpassed their father. From school level quizzing to the corporate level, this Anglo-Indian family is responsible for igniting a national interest in this cerebral activity.
Anglo-Indian masters were known to put a friendly arm around a truant boy, putting him at ease immediately. After school hours, they were often seen joining the students for a game.
The sight of Anglo-Indian lady teachers, not one hair out of place, in their knee-length dresses, walking upright through the corridors of schools, was a sight to behold and a common occurrence in those days. They disciplined through love. Generations of students benefited from their motherly care. Their insistence on proper enunciation, emoting, and pronunciation made them stand out as teachers. With impeccable handwriting and neat boardwork, the memories of these teachers remain etched in the minds of their students.
As an Anglo-Indian, it was truly an honor to be a boarder and a student of La Martiniere. It took some time to realize, but I had learned important lessons back then which prepared me for life today. Be it discipline, responsibility or teamwork, I scored more than average in all exams. I played almost every sport possible and I definitely made the most of what the school gave me. For the Anglo-Indians that have been given this chance, I would like to tell you one simple thing. Make it count. Don't take these privileges for granted. Rather, set an example for the next generation to follow. It's up to you and I to show the world what we Anglo-Indians can really do.
In La Martiniere too, there has been a long tradition of Anglo-Indian teachers. All boys remember with great fondness the celebrated Bud Suarez and Mr. Milford Hennessy, who we lost in his prime, and his athletic daughters Tina and Anna were shone on the sports field in the girls' school. More recently, we have had Mr. Ritchie, Mr. Gunyan and Mr. David Roy, revered as teachers by generations of Martinians. Anglo-Indian principals of our school who have made noteworthy contribution are Mr. Wise, Mr. Donald Olney, Mr. Richard Flynn, to name a few of the stalwarts. The list would be incomplete without mentioning the committed service of Mr. Stanford Francis and Mrs. Angela Roberts. Old Anglo-Indian boys who returned to serve their alma mater in various capacities were Mr. John Mason, Mr. Theodore Pitts, Dr. Terence Ireland, Mr. Shane Calvert, and Mr. Charles Niss, to name a few.
Sports and music were the forte of the Anglo-Indians.
For an Anglo-Indian boy, more than studies, games is important. My heart lies in the field, be it for football or hockey. This is where I belong.
This is where I belong.
Sports and games have always been the forte of the Anglo-Indian community.
Little known to many is the fact that the Anglo-Indian community created two of the world's #1 hockey teams, India and Australia.
Hockey tournaments at Calcutta saw the legendary teams of the Calcutta Customs, Calcutta Rangers, VNR and Calcutta Naval Reserve battle for supremacy.
This was not all. Anglo-Indians also saw each other as rival captains at the Rome Olympics. The legendary Leslie Claudius on the Indian side and Kevin Carton on the Australian side.
In the more recent times, we have been made proud on the tennis courts by none other than our fellow Martinian, Leander Pace.
One may also recall Noel Wilson and Carlton Chapman among the others who excelled on the football field.
Arguably, there have been a plethora of Anglo-Indians who have clinched the best athlete medal year after year at our very own school.
And laughter on a summer holiday. No more worries for me or you. For a week or two, we're going where the sun shines brightly. We're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the movies. Now let's see if it's true. Everybody has a summer holiday. Always wanted to. So we're going on a summer holiday to going where the sun shines brightly. We're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the Blue East. Let's see if it's true. Everybody has a summer holiday, doing things they always wanted to. So we're going on a summer holiday to make our dreams come true. For me and you.
The Anglo-Indian community is a fun-loving community, and the love for music is instilled from a very early age. And it is of no wonder that several Anglo-Indians have gone on to take up music as their careers. Harry Roger Webb, better known as Cliff Richard, Engelbert Humperdinck, Louis Banks, Carlton Kitto, and Pam Crane are among the eminent musicians of our community. Trinkers, Moulin Rouge and Furpers were the favourite haunts of the Anglo-Indians, where evenings saw many a loving couple waltzing or jiving to the foot-tapping rock and roll. On a Sunday morning, if you ever took a stroll down an Anglo-Indian locality, one would hear wonderful foot-tapping music flowing out of the windows. If music was not enough, in the field of entertainment, the stand-up comedian Russell Peters, Leslie Jean Hartnett and Diana Hayden made the community proud as beauty pageant winners.
Yellow rice and dog curry, crumb chops and jaggery made by a Rani is most
Cooked lovingly by the Indian Khansama, served at the table by the Khidmatgar, under the watchful eyes of many a Mem Sahib, emerged the unique blend of the assorted spices of the Orient and traditional English recipes, the aromatic Anglo-Indian cuisine. Indian ingredients and cooking styles were entangled inextricably to European tastes, passed down through generations from robust railway colonies and homely factory quarters, appeared fiery red curries and refreshing pot roasts.
Anglo-Indian food is awesome.
Mulgatani soup, jangli pulao, vindaloo in Anglo-Indian style and bread pudding are just a few Anglo-Indian specialities.
A typical Anglo-Indian breakfast looks like this.
Bread, baked beans, fried egg and sausages. Garlic bread, salami and fried egg. Bread, hash browns, fried egg, sauteed mushrooms and sausages.
Christmas is a special time of the year. We bake, roast, carve and prepare various dishes. Christmas lunch and dinner are looked forward to by all members of the community. A Christmas special is roast chicken with sauteed vegetables and baked potatoes.
Today I'm playing You Are My Sunshine. I hope you enjoy it.
Nagpur, Nagpur, Allahabad,
Hyderabad,
Shikadapur, Bilaspur,
Kashmir,
Chandigarh.
Two places you are extremely likely to bump into Anglo-Indians are the Dalhousie Institute and the Grail Club. Although you will find some of us here throughout the year, playing one sport or the other, you will find a large part of our community gathered at special events. You have the black and white dance, where you'll find people of all ages with their dancing shoes on. You have the Make Week, where you'll find young girls competing for a nominal title. You have Housey or Bingo, where you find most old Anglo-Indian folks out and about. And then of course, you have the most magical time of the year, Christmas. Having a reputation for abundance and a love for music and dance, the Anglo-Indian community is at the center of Christmas celebrations in the city. Anglo-Indians from Canada, Australia, and all around the world visit their relatives in Calcutta to relive the nostalgia of the festive season. Before Christmas Day, the clubs host a carol evening where members who have been practicing for weeks leading up to the occasion put together a lively Christmas-themed performance. As for Christmas Day, you'll find most of us partying it away on the dance floor with friends and family at DI or the Grail Club. A visit to the zoo or the Calcutta races on the 26th of December, referred to as Boxing Day, isn't far from typical.
amongst the liveliest. Song and dance is a way of life for the Anglo-Indian community.
Warm-hearted and loving, this is one community that refers to all the youngsters as my son or my girl. Known for speaking their minds often at their own peril. Anglo-Indians are a vibrant community which has developed a language of their own. Gone are the days when one has heard the word tuck or grub or even the infamous "I'll give you one jhap" or "he got a good lick."
Hi everyone, I hope you enjoy this song I'm about to sing. It's a beautiful track and a very well-known track by one of the very well-known singers of all time, Mr. Cliff Richard. I'm sure at some point in your life you definitely have heard this track for sure. So sit back and I hope you enjoy the song. And if you know the words, do sing along. Here we go. When I was young, my father said, "Son, I have something to say." And what he told me I'll never forget until my dying day. He said, "Son, you are a bachelor boy, and that's the way to stay. Son, you'll be a bachelor boy until your dying day." When I was 16, I fell in love with a girl as sweet as can be. But I remembered just in time what my daddy said to me. He said, "Son, you are a bachelor boy, and that's the way you stay. Son, you'll be a bachelor boy until your dying day." As time goes by, I probably will meet a girl and fall in love. Then I'll get married, have a wife and child, and they'll be my little doves. But until then, I'll be a bachelor boy, and that's the way I stay. Happy to be a bachelor boy until my dying day. Yes, I'll be a bachelor boy, and that's the way I stay. Happy to be a bachelor boy until my dying day. Thank you.
The Anglo-Indian community and culture has inspired several books and characters in novels. Anglo-Indians are storytellers par excellence, with the ability to keep their audience riveted for hours. It is no wonder that some of them have earned distinction as authors. The legendary Kipling, the immortal Ruskin Bond, Alan Seeley, to name a few. Anglo-Indians have also been portrayed in several noteworthy films such as 36 Chowringhee Lane, Bhavani Junction, Beau Barracks Forever, and Cotton Mary.
The Anglo-Indian community has blossomed in all walks of life. With the migration of Anglo-Indians to other continents and intermarriage, the community is the very embodiment of diversity. The Anglo-Indians of today are committed to keep the community flag flying high.
As a young Anglo-Indian boy, I have dreams of making it big in life through honesty and hard work.
Wining and dining, singing and dancing.
Working hard and enjoying life is the way we Anglo-Indians do it.